Mark is a father. Mark is a spouse. Mark is a phenomenal gentleman. His children, his two boys, actually went to Coastal Academy and then to Classical Academy High School. He does a lot of national work with a lot of different organizations and a lot of different school districts. And he is encouraging, he is kind, and he is thoughtful, and he's so knowledgeable. And I know that we're really going to enjoy our time together this morning. So let's give it up for Mark Reardon.
Everybody make some noise! Whoa! Welcome to Jumpstart, everybody! All right, you can stay standing. Here's what's up. We're going to be proud and loud this morning. What's going to show up on the screen is the logo of your school and your name. So when you see it, give it up, because I'm sure you think your school is the best school. Let's get started. The Classical Academy Bears! Woo! Coastal Academy Dolphins! Classical Academy Vista Sharks! Coastal Academy High School Stingrays! The Badgers of Classical Academy Middle School! And Classical Academy High School and Online Caymans! Woo! You can go ahead and have a seat. Oh my goodness. We got to do a wave. We just got to do a wave. Because that's fun, I suppose. At least fun for me to watch. So we'll do that, right? We're going to start on this side right here. So you understand how a wave works, right? Right, yeah. So you stand up. Okay? Yeah. The wimpy people who don't care about the school that they go to, they go... No. Yo, you're loud, you're proud. All right, here we go. We're gonna start on this side. Ready? Go. Oh yeah. It's coming back. Woo! That was awesome. Well, good morning. It feels so good to be here. I would be, well, yeah, it's the truth. I've been thinking about doing the keynote at Jumpstart for a few years. Okay, like 10. And as many times as I thought it might be the right time to do that, or we had talked about it, this year feels like the right time. Given where we are as an organization, what's coming down the landscape about charter schools, it feels right. So it's so good to be here with my colleagues, educators, yes, fellow parents. Thank you so much. It feels like a family reunion. You know, the kind, though, where everybody likes and loves each other, right? One of those kind of family reunions. I can still remember like it was yesterday. Sitting on the hearth of the fireplace that my father built in our family room. I could still feel his hand on my right knee. It was going to be one of those talks. Because see, I just shot my sister with an arrow. And it hit her just below the eye. Yeah, that's what my mom said. Son, he said. And it could have been that time where I actually swore at my brother and I called him Dad explained that it was a female dog. Or the time where I sassed at my mom and I didn't do what she asked. And it didn't really matter the what of those talks as much as the how. I can still feel the coolness of the marble hearth and the warmth of my bricklayer dad's hand on my right knee. You know, as parents, we will do everything in our power to teach our kids, to guide our kids. We will do whatever it takes. Whether it's having those kind of talks, or it's just providing the basics like food and shelter, clothing, even the investment that we make into their hobbies and their sports. We will pull out all the stops to make sure that they succeed. We'll admonish, we'll encourage, we'll edify, we'll guide, and we'll protect. Because there is nothing too good for our kids. Yes? Absolutely. But maybe those good intentions are too much of a good thing. Here's the thing about good intentions in overdrive. They actually stifle our child's development. It like snatches them from every challenge that they need to build solid character and high academic competence. Parenting, it's rewarding. It can be joyful at times. And there's happiness. And it's also hard. It's challenging. It's frustrating. She feels it. Right there. Yeah, and it's also humbling. And it's easy. It is so easy in the day-to-day, the hustle and the hassle. It's all too easy to assume our child's responsibility, to even lower expectations in the name of convenience and possibly even our own comfort. Well-intentioned, are we? For certain. Overparenting? It's easy, if it's not only tempting, to fall into these I'll just say it, parenting in overdrive. It's so easy. The stress that we're under, the expectations that we place on ourselves and that society tries to place on us. And in the midst of all of that busyness and all of that hassle, it's easy to choose the quick, the short-term fix, rather than setting a foundation for the long term. So here's what we're going to do this morning. We're going to unpack this thing called, parenting. We're going to look at it from over-parenting. We're going to unpack that for a little bit. We're going to look at some ways in which we might have a tendency to over-parent. We'll take a look at some causes, some consequences, and then we're going to wrap it up with an affirmation or two about the truth that we're really doing a lot of great stuff for our kids. I have a little confession to make. I didn't want to homeschool our boys. I'm a professional educator. This is going on my 42nd year in the field of education. And at that time, I was doing teacher workshops and working with administrators, and I was thinking, my kids are going to school. They're not going to go to homeschool. But a funny thing happens in a household, and if you're married, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I come home one day. Lynn, my wife, where's Lynn? Where are you, sweetheart? Oh, you can stand up. That's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm smiling now. She comes home and she says to me, we're going to homeschool the boys. It wasn't, what do you think about homeschooling the boys? It was, hey, I have this kind of crazy idea. You want to explore it with me? No. It was, we're homeschooling the boys. I've already ordered the curriculum. I've got student furniture coming in. Repainting that room. Turn it into a whatever. And here's the reason why. Because I asked. You know how busy I am, I said. I'm not going to be around. I'm going to shoulder a lot of this. This is what she said. I'm not ready for my boys to be away from me that much. Not right now. I want to continue. We need to continue to have influence in their lives. How do you argue with that? Right? So, here's the rest of the confession. We were successful at some things. We were successful in a whole lot of things. And we were less than successful. We often felt like we just made some really good choices, but honest, we made some bad choices. I cleared this with Lynn before I said this out loud. We just made some bad choices. It felt like we were filming the good, the bad, and the ugly as we were working with our kids. And there were choices that we made. There were choices that we made that at the moment when we saw what happened, the aftermath of what we did or said, we thought, we're probably damaging our boys. In fact, that led us to think about calling up our financial advisor and taking all the money that was in the college fund and putting it into a counseling fund. We thought that would be a really good idea. All right. So this is my family. The really cute one's Lynn. So that's Lynn, and the person behind her is Tate. It's blurry because he doesn't sit still. He's kind of like that. And then we don't know those people. We just kind of did the selfie thing, so they're not real. They have nothing to do with us, actually. This is Noah. Noah is my relationship guy, wears his sleeves, still calls mom every single day. That's him. Maybe you taught Noah or Tate, I'm not sure. And then, this is me. That's what they call me, the ancient one. So now that they're 23 and 19, Noah 23, Tate 19, now that they're that age, we actually are pleased with who they are becoming. And we're pleased with the choices that they've made. And that has a whole lot to do just with their sheer willpower, the grace of God. But it's also a testimony that even in the midst of all of that good, the bad, and the ugly, all those moments when we were questioning what we were doing, even in the midst of all that, we did a whole lot of things that were just the right thing. In hindsight, our parenting, in hindsight, I could see how our parenting showed up in different approaches, and so maybe you could relate to any of these. Anybody want to care to guess what that is? Yeah, there are times we were like helicopters, just hovering. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen those police helicopters before, right? You've seen those? You probably heard them. Somebody from somewhere is speaking, like the voice of God, right? And that's what it was like sometimes, when we would just go, "Hey, did you get that homework done yet?" From across the house. "That project better get done before I get to the table." Technology has brought us a sleeker version of being a helicopter parent. It's a drone parent with stealth maneuvering. Can really get down in it, really see what's going on. And then when detected, oh, you missed that comma. Is that really the way you want to do that next step in the problem? Oh, a snowplow. They're big, they're noisy. I got a big old blade on the front, kind of at an angle, so it can just move things out of the way. Anything that I thought was getting it, just move it out of the way. Well, we're not doing that assignment. Move that one out of the way. You know, what the school's asking of us, it's really not that important because, well, they don't understand my kid. Just moving things out of the way. Yeah, it's a Roomba. It's a little dirt devil with wheels and a mind of its own. It darts about, it's bumping into things, it's changing direction as it's trying to get its job done. Kind of look like scattered schedules. Not much of a plan for the day. Kind of only doing surface learning as we were trying to get through our day. All right, save one of the best ones for last. It's a Zamboni. That's what it's called. And if you've ever seen one of these at the ice rink, they come out like after the period or whatever, and their job is to smooth out the ice so it returns to this nice, clear, clean surface. So we'd find ourselves cleaning up toys after playtime, books after homework. We'd even be cleaning up, oh, I don't know, do I go here yet? Like even cleaning up the choices that they make. It was painful. Or even bearing some shame or guilt or an immense amount of responsibility for some bad choice we made, or maybe the lesson didn't go well. And we'd say things like, "Oh, it's all my fault." Well, we wouldn't say it to them. But behind closed doors, like, "I know it was all my fault." No, it was all your fault. Mostly mine. I'm such a bad teacher. I'm not sure they're learning anything. It's cleaning up behind, even to the place of over responsibility, over apologizing. Well, all these things have one thing in common. They're machines. And machines are designed for a very specific purpose. They're designed to accomplish a task, to produce a result with little to no errors. But machines are full of oil and not blood. They have circuitry but not a brain. And they have gears, but not a heart. And although designed to accomplish a very specific purpose, they do not know how to handle the complexities of life. Like, oh, I don't know, homeschooling little humans. And the crazy thing about homeschooling little humans, especially when they're ours, is that they're in an environment they're really comfortable with. Have you noticed that? Like they think they can just get up from the school table anytime they want. They think playtime is an option at any moment. They're comfortable. It's the routines of the house. What do you mean I can't wear my pajamas when I do math? Not that that's bad, by the way. I did math in my pajamas once or twice. And you have a mom, a dad, or an aunt, an uncle, a guardian, somebody who's playing teacher and principal. Now just think for a moment from your student's perspective. Like they either think you're schizophrenic because they don't get, have you noticed they don't get the role switch? Have you noticed that? Unless, of course, you said, you know, when we sit at the table, I'm your teacher. And when dad gets home, he's the principal. And the other thing about homeschooling little humans is they have this thing called will. And that will sometimes shows up as compliance, sometimes shows up as obedience, but a whole lot more times, more than we would ever care or wish or dream that it would be, obstinance. Now, I know I'm not talking about your kid, somebody else's kid, because I'm sure yours are angels sometimes. And if you homeschool older children, not only do they have a will, they have this alien-like feature called hormones. And these otherworldly kind of behaviors, they show up like at random. Like, where did that come from? At one moment, they've got the world by the tail, right? The world's mine, I'm conquering, I can do anything. And then it's like, by the time they get up from the dinner table, it's, world sucks. I hate the world, everybody hates me. Like, what? Was it the beans? I don't know what happened to you. What happened to you? And these episodes, sometimes they just last for a moment. And we go, whew, that was just a moment. And then sometimes they're like hours and days. And then there's other times, and you know if you have an older student who's got this alien hormone thing going on, you know that it feels like it's a decade. Like, are they ever going to come out of this thing? What happened to my kid? And with these dynamics at play, it's so easy to overparent. And why not? There's a need for cleanliness and orderliness, law and order. There's a need for timeliness. There's a need to get things done. And because we have this much schooling to do in this amount of time, or at least it feels that way, we want things to go well. Now. Let's just get it done, huh? Come on, get that handled. Finish up that project. We got a few other things we need to do. Hop, 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 chop, 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 chop. Let's go, let's go. And perhaps we avoid the potential of an inevitable conflict. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, if I say that to them right now, they're gonna, and then I'm gonna have to, and then they're gonna, and then I'm gonna have to. And you know what? I don't want to do that right now. I just want another cup of coffee. Just want to sit down, go watch a video, get out of my hair. Yet when we're parenting in overdrive like that under all that stress, it leads to this. If it's a little fuzzy, that might mean that you're stressed. Already, we haven't even started. Here we go. I'm a little stressed right now. Just turn around and leave quietly and no one gets hurt. Because that's what overparenting does with us. We get all like amped up. Get things, little things become really big things. What do you mean your pencil's not sharp? You know we start school at 8. Get your things material. It's like, it's a pencil. That's all it is. It's just a pencil. So how does overparenting show up? Here's a few ways. Being over-purposeful. Everything has a purpose. Everything has meaning. Every moment is a teachable moment. Overcommitted we get to every opportunity. The new things that's happening at the museum. Let's go check what's happening in the park. Oh, we need to go over to this other place. Oh, you know that there's this big fair going on someplace else. We are over-purposeful. We think that if a little of a good thing is good, then a lot of a good thing must be even better. So we got to get in all the schoolwork, but we can't miss that, or we can't miss that, or that opportunity, or call somebody, or write a letter, or a note. We can be over-accountable. Feeling so accountable to the other homeschool parents, to our teacher, and to the school, that we take on that which isn't really ours to take on. When we fail to be perfect, when we blow it, we can feel such a weight of accountability that we can go into meltdown. We can beat ourselves up. You're looking at me like you've never done that before. Right? Maybe not out loud, maybe not really physically, but we're walking around going, oh, man, I sure wish that was different. I sure blew that. I missed that opportunity with them. Oh my goodness. Start transferring that college fund. We can be over-respectful. Little me, big you. In not wanting to hurt their feelings, diminish their creativity, dampen their ability to make suggestions, we're too easily persuaded. We capitulate to their requests far too easy, just so we can avoid conflict. Let's got another one. Over-encouraging. Over-encouraging. Well, everybody gets a ribbon. Everybody gets a trophy. You get a star for the end of the day, even though you only did 10% of what you're supposed to do today. Because I'm sure you had some sort of effort that went in there. Over-encouraging. You know what? You're the smartest kid ever. Ever. You're not just going to be the president. You're going to own the whole world. You're going to be the first one on Jupiter. Over-encouraging. Over-novel. I know, it sounds a little weird saying it like that. No routine, always spontaneous. The next thing, the next new shiny object, the next special project. It's new, it's got to be good. They can't miss that opportunity. And that gets me thinking about ADD and ADHD. And yes, they are conditions of a neurochemical imbalance. Absolutely. And then I often wonder, the way in which we organize our kids' days and their agenda, all the things we have them wrapped up in, I'm just wondering if that fuels their inattentiveness, their ability to not focus, to be quiet, peaceful. or we can be over tough, rigid, right, wrong, sharpen pencil, not sharpen pencil, right thing to do, wrong thing to do. We make the rules more important than our relationship. And sometimes we're always right to the point of even when we're not right, we're still right. Too tough. No room to breathe. Let's take a look at a few causes. Oh, well, look at her. Take a look at a few causes that might drive us to overparent or to do parenting in overdrive. One of them is poor modeling. Perhaps you had a parent that was really tough. They were domineering, micromanaging, creating a condition of trust diminishing atmosphere kind of place. And we don't want to experience those feelings. And so we just run in the opposite direction. We're not going to be like our parents. That was too stifling. I'm going to open up the gates. Here's another cause. Is loss. Oh, no, not before we get to that. We got to do this. You're probably thinking, well, what do I do about it? Here's what you do. In those moments, you simply breathe and you notice. Just breathe. Check the person next to you. Are they still breathing? Just breathe. And notice what's going on. And then here's what we do. We're intentional. We ask ourselves, what is the one thing that my child could be doing right now on their own? We acknowledge them when they do well or not quite well. And then we coach when they need it so they can get better at it. All right, here's another cause. Loss. Maybe it was a loss of a parent or a guardian, whether it's through divorce or illness. And now the remaining parent can compensate for that loss. They feel a great, immense sense of responsibility or guilt or a feeling of, I'm less than capable on my own right now. And so enveloped in these emotions, they do everything. They do the clean, they do the laundry, they do the washing of the dishes, they do the washing of the clothes. They take out the trash, they remake the bed, they pick up all the clothes. They complete the lab report after their kid goes to bed, or the essay. While the kid is doing the poster, commandeer it, or take over the building of some special project like a robot. If this is happening, here's what we do. We breathe and notice. And then we choose what our next actions are going to be. We're going to be intentional. We're going to ask, what one thing can my child do right now on their own? And we're going to acknowledge them when they're doing it in steps and getting closer and closer to accomplishment. And then we're going to coach them when they need it. We're going to look at one more. Success. Perhaps school were the best years of your life. You were successful. You did good with grades. People liked you. You won the spelling bee. You got a ribbon for the science projects. You participated in sports and clubs. Everybody loved you. And based on our success, we want our children to experience success as well, which makes total sense. It's not a problem unless that success is in overdrive to ensure that our children experience the same thing, the same level of success. But here's the thing. They're not you. So as we go with our success drive, they're different than us. And so in not knowing really how to create the success for that particular student, we over-reward effort, we over-reward the C or the B, and we make comments like, you're so smart, the grade just doesn't reflect it. Or we say things like, is that the best you can do? You know, when I was in geometry, that's the instrument you play in band? The bass drum? I played the flute. Oh, you know what? You should be in this sport or that club, just like your father was or your grandpa was. And I wonder if sometimes if we just do and say those things because we just want to make ourselves feel better. If that's happening, here's what you do. You should see a pattern happening right about now. Because it's simple, but not easy. Breathe and notice what's going on. Be intentional. Ask, what is the one thing my kid can do right now on their own? And then acknowledge them and coach them. So there are consequences of our parenting in overdrive. It's like black plastic over green grass. Our parenting in overdrive smothers. It can stifle. And if not put into check, it damages their character and their academic competence. Here's a few areas, just to make it clear. And I thought about not having this part of the talk this morning. But at the same time, if we have a propensity to put our parenting into overdrive, there are consequences. There's consequences on their emotional development. It creates dependency, a lack of trust, fear of making mistakes, a lack of emotional investment in the tasks at hand or the people they're with. It leads to apathy, character. Parenting in overdrive creates a lack of self-discipline, a lack of initiative, laziness, both physically and mentally. It can lead to a sense of entitlement. Why? Because as I get older and mom or dad snatch the opportunities away from me for me to build my solid character and my high academic competence, they've done it before. I count on them to do it now. Their cognitive development. It creates a mindset of fixed intelligence and a limited belief in their own abilities. In the box thinking. And this is the part that we never see, and I know you know this because we all have this little internal voice in our head. It creates this lack of wonder, this lack of curiosity. And then the voice in our head shows up. And that voice in our head, when we're in an environment where it's stifling, this is just too hard. I can't do this on my own. And the even more damaging one is when they say, I don't even have what it takes. So here's the question. When you hear the question, think of your answer and then say the answer out loud. Everybody clear? All right, here's the question. Is that the kind of kid we want? Oh, that was convincing. That was like 12 of you. Is that the kind of kid we want? No. Now, before I go any farther in this little talk, I just want to make sure that even though those things are happening that we just talked about, the truth is they're human beings. The truth is their brains are malleable. The truth is that we can ask for forgiveness and move them to a new place. That's the great thing about being human and not working with machines. And knowing what the consequences are, being aware of what might causing my parenting in overdrive just creates us. Maya Angelou said, the more I know, the better I do. Or do we desire a kid who's like this? A kid who takes initiative, self-discipline. A kid who can look people in the eye, shake their hand, and engage in a meaningful conversation. Who approaches new challenges with curiosity and the confidence that with the right effort and with the right tool, they can give it a go. A child who's surprised by their abilities, their gifts and their talents, and desires to express those to people around them. So there's a question coming. You know the answer. So say it boldly. Is that the kind of kid we want? Yes. Absolutely. Turn to the person next to you and say, yeah. Good, good. Turn to the other person and say, yeah, that's what I want. Go ahead and tell them. Good. Good. Now say to yourself, go ahead and say to yourself, I can do this. Kid, look over somebody else, even if you don't know them, and say, I think you can do it too. So if your yes is truly a yes, then let's build on what you've already created, what you've already invested in. Because here's what we know. We want it to be where our kids are successful. We want that. We desire that with everything in our being. And we know that we want, but also need to be the parent. This is what great parenting is all about. This is what you're already doing. We'll highlight a few things. We're purposeful. We act on our principles. We know what we stand for. We know what we value, and we make choices that align with what we value and what our priorities are and principles. So the question is, what is specifically your purpose for parenting? Build character? Make them like you? Make them like you? Or possibly make them not like you? Think this through, parents, even teachers, yes? Think this through. What is the purpose of my parenting? Why am I teaching? Accountable. Can they count on you? They count on you for all sorts of stuff right now. Let's take a little deeper dive into it. Can they count on you to model what peace looks like? What organization sounds like? Can they count on you to hold them to the expectations that you've set and the boundaries that you've put around them? And when we blow it, and we will, can they count on us to say, no, I blew it? And then to ask them for forgiveness and then recommit to what we're going to do differently in the future. Can they count on us? Great parenting is respectful. And I want to put this in perspective. Your kids have brains. I'll start with the obvious. Your kids they have brains, they have gifts, they have talents, they have strengths, and they have thoughts, and they have opinions. Yes, each of these need guidance, they need mentoring, they need coaching. And remember, They were created of your image, not in your image. Discover what your child's brain is like, their opinions and their thoughts. Ask them what they think about relationships and family and religion and war and poverty. What do they think about politics? 4-year-olds have an answer. Honor that they have these qualities. Get to know them at this level. And so that they can use their strengths and their gifts and their thoughts responsibly. All right, encouraging. Comes from cardia, courage means heart, it means conviction. So here are things that parents say to their kids to encourage them. This is important. That's a great thing to tell a kid. This is important. If they say why, it's important. Did you forget I was the teacher? I believe you can do this. You're about ready to discover that you can. I'm here to support you, and I will do whatever it takes. Novelty. Every day, every moment brings something new. We want to explore that newness and that discovery, the unexpected. We need routines, we need traditions, we need reliable expectations to feel safe and supported, because when our brain is in that kind of atmosphere, then it can launch into creativity, higher order thinking, problem solving. And there's awe and wonder all around us all the time. Parents see those and invite kids to those moments. And tough. Mentally and emotionally. Yes is yes. No is no. And maybe, well, it's a maybe. And when I have more information, I'll tell you if it's a yes or no. Maybe we forgot that we were the parent. They are the child. Stay with me. This is my house. It's becoming our house, so that someday you can have your house. I'm the parent. I'm the final authority. I know a few things because I've seen a few things, experienced a few things. You can trust me. I want the best for you. I want all the best for you. And I will do whatever it takes to nurture, to encourage, to edify, to guide, and to protect you. You know, we've made deposits in our students' trust accounts, in their emotional trust accounts. And the currency is support, nurture, respect, acknowledgement. And that currency, that money, is compounded every day, every moment, with everything we say and everything we do. And because of these deposits that we've made, it allows us to use that account as collateral to make high-risk investments in the development of their character and their pursuit of high levels of academic competence. Those investments sound like this. You give it a go first. What do you think? How would you explain this? Show what you know about this. Help me to understand how you think about that, how you came up with that answer. The kind of high-risk investments gets them to wrestle, to struggle with new concepts and vocabulary, the literary passages, math equations, chemistry formulas, and the causes and effects of historical events. Inviting them to push the limits of their creativity, their intestinal fortitude, perseverance, self-discipline, their ability to problem solve, defend their opinion and express empathy. And even in the face of them saying, I don't want to. This is too hard. Help me. moments when they say, you don't love me. Because if you loved me, you'd help me. Even in the midst of all that, we, as parents, are relentless with grace and respect in the pursuit of them demonstrating that they are indeed thinkers, communicators, and achievers. My heart's racing. My head's bowed as if in prayer, but really in shame. The coolness of the marble, Dad's muscled, warm, strong hand on my right knee. And tears fill my eyes. And somehow Dad knew that if he yelled at me, if he berated me, if he scolded me at that moment, it would simply be echoing the thoughts in my own mind. He said this, son, we can't always make the good first choice, but we can always make a better second choice. I love you. Now go apologize to your sister. And here's the solemn, the hard to swallow truth. It's not about us. As much as we would love to win the Teacher or Parent of the Year award and pin that proudly on our chest, and as wonderful as that would be, it's not about us. It's about them. It's about your child, your student, growing and developing to become adults who know who they are and are full of wonder about the possibilities. It's them searching for the answers, them constructing the equation, them connecting the dots in history, crafting the thesis and the supporting statements. It's them practicing their instrument till it's better than good. And it's them being courageous enough to ask the questions when they don't know. Or even have the courage to act in empathy toward others. This love, it develops a solid character and high academic competence. It occurs in an atmosphere and a demonstration of the highest and the deepest love that we can muster up, that we have for our kids. Love so deep, so intentional. A love in such abundance that it calls to us. It invites us. It commands us to challenge our students, to push our students, to guide them to the place of uncertainty and to the feelings of uncomfortable not knowingness, so that they discover who they are and what they're capable of. And we sacrifice the short-term convenience for the long-term results. Why? Because we love them that much. Thank you.
Love you.
Good job. Good job. Good job.